Welcome to the Short Funk Podcast. I'm Tom Barbalet. Today, now I'm already over the US elections. It's just boring to me. I pick out small incidental facts periodically, but I think really it's just a puppet show going forward. And that's always been part of my political thinking, mainly because I can't find any candidates that agree with, 80% of my views, or even 95% of my views now. So it's relatively easy not to be particularly impacted by the political process, aside from the fact that they enact mass carnage in a variety of countries over the world. And in this country, they actually enact some form of carnage to the local population as well, which is always very curious. One of the things that I think is worthy of note in a short funk is associated with references to Hitler. One particular candidate seems to be getting a majority of the Hitler references, and in large part I find that's misplaced, because I think another candidate is actually demonstrably, well, let's use the term war criminal, because I think that actually describes the circumstances associated with the ongoing death with this individual's lack of action. Let's just leave it at that. In any case, I'm always concerned associated with the use of Hitler, because Hitler was a unique person who wandered through a variety of circumstances and found himself in power substantially through manipulation, because he didn't hold a majority at that time, but then enacted a series of things that were designed to make him more popularist, at the same time eliminating portions of the population. And I don't think there will ever be someone like Hitler ever again. I think Hitler represented his time. He represented the introduction of mass media, which now a substantial portion of any given population in any given country understand to a certain extent, or at least are convinced in cynicism that this thing is not quite as wondrous as it's originally portrayed. And through this light, I don't think there will be a Hitler going forward. Now, there might be people like Hitler. There might be people that embody a certain degree of fascism. I certainly find that in this country. I think, a number of the presidents going back from both political parties have behaved like fascist presidents, without question. But within this context, I think Hitler is Hitler. Hitler is unique. Hitler should be studied and understood, particularly in the culture of fascism. In fact, I think the whole culture of fascism needs to be taught explicitly as a warning to future young folk, particularly because it's pretty heavily evident in a number of Western democracies now. Rather than learning from the experience of the Second World War, give 2 generations to forget and then start enacting similar aspects. Not to say that Hitler has risen and Hitler is somewhere in this group, but fascism in general represents a very repressive and generally immune to discourse society, which I feel very heavily. In fact, Short Funk is my little epitaph to this narration. In any case, so when you see people referencing Hitler, it usually means that they don't have a good understanding of history, and it also means that they're vocabulary poor. Like, they can't explain to folk why, yes, we live in a fascist society, but no, the individuals that are presented before us are not Hitler. They're another group of people that probably should be understood and named as fascists. And then, once we learn from that, we can make sure that they never hold public office ever again. And I think with regards to every single major party political candidate, this is applicable currently. And I think the media is just sloppy and lazy in terms of the way that they're creating this narrative. And ultimately, the candidates we see currently are a reaction to that narrative. Tom Barbalet in San Jose, signing out.